Grab your UV highlighters, tape off the area, and get your magnifying glasses ready, because today, I am your lead forensic examiner. We are cracking open a notoriously cold case file that has absolutely baffled students for years. We're talking about the highly misunderstood, highly volatile 24-mark essay quality of language scheme for Cambridge Arabic AS and A-Level, specifically Syllabus 9680. Every single exam season, thousands upon thousands of marks just vanish into thin air, leaving students completely devastated and wondering what on earth went wrong. While today, we're treating this mark scheme exactly like a crime scene. I'm going to walk you through this case file, and I've even brought along two of my hypothetical rookie forensics agents to help us out. We've got Agent Alex, who is totally obsessed with leaving loose footprints and dropping random facts everywhere, and Agent Sam, who loves to float around with incredibly vague theories. We are going to decode exactly what the Cambridge examiners are searching for, step by step, line by line, so you can secure every single one of those 24 marks. Let's process the scene.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is your official case briefing. First, the incident report. Second, the forensic methodology. Third, evidence analysis. Fourth, fatal exam mistakes. And finally, the final autopsy.
Section 1. The Incident Report. Understanding the laws of the exam.
Right, so to stop this massive, heartbreaking loss of marks, we first have to understand the fundamental laws governing the exam room. The Cambridge Syllabus Principles explicitly state that top-performing students exhibit connected, conceptual understanding transferable to unfamiliar contexts. Now, this is a massive clue right out of the gate. My rookie, Agent Alex, always reads this and thinks, okay, I'll just memorize the textbook and dump every Arabic vocabulary word I know onto the page. No, that's a classic rookie mistake. The examiners aren't looking for rote memorization. They want rock-solid proof of cross-topic connections. They want to see deep, conceptual mastery that you can take and apply to a completely unfamiliar scenario. If you just dump facts, you are literally handing your marks right back to Cambridge.
To actually prove that mastery, you have to hit 3 very specific targets, which Cambridge calls cognitive domains. I like to think of these as 3 separate rooms at our crime scene, and you have to leave undeniable forensic footprints in every single one of them. Room 1 is knowledge and understanding. That's showing you actually know the baseline facts. Room 2 is analysis. This is where you break down how those facts interact with each other. And room 3, the hardest one, is evaluation. This is where you judge the actual value, the weight, or the impact of those facts. Let me tell you, a foolproof 24-mark essay must leave clear, glowing evidence of competence across all 3 of these distinct areas. If you skip one, the whole case falls apart. So the absolutely crucial point here, the golden rule of forensics, is that analytical depth is always greater than superficial breadth. Let me say that again because it's literally the most important thing you'll hear today. Depth over breadth. Academic benchmarks for this 24-mark scheme require highly logical, structured reasoning. Examiners do not want a shallow list of 20 different facts sprinkled across the page like confetti. They want you to take 2 or maybe 3 highly relevant points and dive incredibly deep into the causal relationships and the logical reasoning behind them. Agent Sam always tries to cover 10 things vaguely, and guess what? Sam fails the evaluation. Go deep, not wide.
Moving on to Section 2, the forensic methodology, the investigator's chain of custody.
In real-world forensics, if you ignore the chain of custody, your evidence gets thrown out of court. It's useless. Securing your Cambridge Arabic exam marks requires following a similarly strict, unforgiving procedural framework. Let's flip on the UV highlighter and look at how a student actually builds a proper case. Step 1, identify the key elements of the prompt. Step 2, apply the relevant principles. Step 3, execute your analysis with clear working. You literally have to show the examiner how your brain is connecting the dots. Step 4, verify your results. And finally, Step 5, present it all in the appropriate format. Look, when we cross-examine student essays line by line, the biggest structural drop we see is right at Step 1. A student will misread the command word in the prompt, and suddenly their entire chain of custody is compromised. Walking through this exact standardized sequence is what locks in those highly coveted method marks.
And speaking of that final step, your presentation relies on extremely strict conventions that you simply must follow. We are talking proper headings, correct academic terminology written in flawless Arabic, appropriate formats, clear annotations, and purely evidence-based conclusions. Listen to me, ignoring these formatting rules is exactly like contaminating your own crime scene. Data interpretation and presentation skills are an absolutely critical piece of this 24-mark puzzle. If your essay looks messy, unorganized, or uses conversational slang instead of academic Arabic, the examiner immediately assumes your logic is messy too. You lose the benefit of the doubt instantly.
Section 3. Evidence Analysis. Mastering Evaluative Thinking.
All right, let's pause the case file for just a second. To ensure you never miss our weekly forensic investigation breakthroughs and always outsmart the examiners, you need to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams right now and turn on all your notifications. Trust me, you do not want to miss what we uncover next. Okay, jumping back in. We've collected the evidence, but the rookies just hit a massive roadblock mid-argument. Agent Alex is screaming, "Just give me the facts." Agent Sam is saying, "But what does it all mean?" I have to step in and reconstruct this using a chronological timeline. The absolute top-scoring candidates construct their arguments using a perfect deconstruct, solve, evaluate timeline. It maps perfectly to the classic PEL template: point, evidence, explain, link. First, you deconstruct by identifying the given info. Second, you solve systematically by breaking the problem into logical steps. Finally, you evaluate by making highly justified recommendations. If your paragraphs are not evolving through this exact timeline, you are bleeding marks.
To truly master this evaluative thinking and assess the quality of your evidence at the highest possible tier, you have to play devil's advocate. You need to identify the strict limitations of the text. You need to spot the hidden assumptions the author is making. You absolutely have to consider alternative interpretations, and most importantly, evaluate how those alternatives would completely change the final conclusions. Pushing your essay to include these elements is the magic key. It elevates your work from basic, boring knowledge to master-level critical analysis. It screams to the examiner, "Hey, I am actually thinking critically here, not just reciting a study guide."
Section 4. Fatal Exam Mistakes. The prime suspects stealing your marks.
Now it's time for a live forensic workshop. I'm pulling direct witness testimonies straight from the Cambridge Principal Examiner reports. These tell us exactly where the crimes are happening. Here are the top 3 prime suspects. Number 1, candidates constantly confuse cause and effect. I want you to imagine a 60-second visual timer on your screen right now. If I give you a complex data set, could you locate the true trend variable before the clock runs out? Most students can't. They mix up the trigger with the outcome. Number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation, which, as we discussed, is total evidence contamination. And number 3, the most dangerous, most elusive suspect of all, answers that are not specific to the given context.
What is truly alarming about this is the sheer volume of marks lost to this one specific error. The examiner alert blares loud and clear. The classic mistake is providing generic answers, always linked to the context. Look, you could write the most beautiful, grammatically flawless paragraph in Arabic. It could belong in a museum. But if it is a generic, pre-memorized answer that isn't specifically anchored to the exact scenario provided in the prompt, it scores 0. Let me repeat that. 0. The examiner will just draw a line right through it. Context is the undisputed king of this exam.
Let's do our second interactive challenge. Look at this comparison. On the left, we have a flawed student essay snippet, a completely generic, contextless argument that relies on memorized definitions. It is a fatal mistake. Now, if you were the examiner, you'd pinpoint 3 technical mistakes here. No specific text references, vague terminology, and 0 evaluation. On the right, we have a newly engineered, fully reconstructed, high-scoring argument. It takes the exact same base principle, but violently weaves in specific details, direct quotes, and text limitations from the provided scenario. This context-specific approach is exactly what they are desperately searching for. It proves applied understanding, which is the whole point of A-levels.
Section 5. The Final Autopsy. Securing your grade. We are bringing this investigation to a close, and I want you to actively apply this. Imagine opening up your laptop and looking at one of your own recent essays. Pick a random paragraph. Can you spot the fatal flaw in your own chain of evidence? Did you make a brilliant point but totally fail to evaluate its limitation? Did you use generic language because you forgot the specific terminology? Take a hard second to mentally review your writing style right now. Are you missing that deep, evaluative, analytical depth we've been hunting for? Recognizing your own criminal patterns is the absolute first step to fixing them before exam day.
To ensure you never, ever fall victim to these mark-stealing mistakes again, I've compiled the definitive forensic exam protection checklist. Before you put your pen down, before you finish any essay, you interrogate yourself with these 5 questions. 1. Did I leave footprints in all 3 cognitive domains? 2. Are cause and effect clearly separated? 3. Is my Arabic terminology exact and formatted like a professional? 4. Did my paragraphs deconstruct, solve, and evaluate using the timeline?
And 5, the ultimate question. Is this 100% specific to the context? If you can answer yes to all 5 of those, my friend, you have an airtight case. So the final question I have to ask you is this. Will your next essay be a flawless 24-mark case file, or are you just going to be another lost mark statistic in the examiner's report? The tools, the methods, the entire blueprint is now completely in your hands. So, your final mission. Subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams right now, enable all notifications so you never miss a briefing, and I want you to comment below with your current Arabic level and your target grade. Claim it right now. Grab your forensic lens, trust your chain of custody, and go secure every single one of those 24 marks. Case closed.